Well, good morning, good morning. Good morning from Massachusetts and welcome. I'm going to check my audio and video on my laptop to make sure that we're good to go. If you're in the chat, you can give me a thumbs up or just let me know that you can hear me well and see me well. Hey, looks like we are good to go. I always have to do a tech check on the laptop to make sure everything is fine. Stunning Lad 1, hello to you. Thank you for joining and being the first to say hello. Thanks for confirming too. Guys, welcome. Come on, everybody. This is a subscriber-only chat. I did update the membership program, so members still get some wonderful perks, some new ones and old ones. But the public live stream, which happens every month, is now a subscriber-only chat. Members, you still can send in questions and requests before the monthly live stream. I'll answer them by also preparing some tasks for you related to your questions. And you will get follow-up tasks on the community tab after the live stream, which is super, right? Really helpful. And then I'm also doing mini quizzes. So check the community tab. Each week you'll get at least one mini quiz, like a one-question challenge with an explanation for the answer. So still some really cool perks for members. Check the community tab after this live stream to get your follow-up tasks. I see Stunning Lad 1 is just joined by us. Is it Asim Abdallah? Hi there. And another person, you can tell me where you're from. All right. As you know, I'm joining you from Massachusetts. That's on the east coast of the U.S. It is summer. We just had a holiday yesterday. We celebrated Independence Day on July 4th. And today the rain came. So we're lucky because we didn't have rain here on the holiday. But this morning started with a light rain. And so I took my dog for a walk. My hair became frizzy as usual, but we're going to hope for the best, okay? We have about 30, possibly up to 60 minutes. I usually promise 30. I often go up to 60. I'll be checking for questions as they come in, but there was at least one member-only request that came in, so I do have an exercise prepared for that. Wonderful. People are joining us from Egypt. Glad to have you here. Okay, well, let me work my little magic here. We're going to start sharing my screen. I see someone joined us from Turkey as well. Thanks for taking time out of your day. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. For some of you, it's also late at night. So thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. Maverick, hello to you. Thank you for the holiday wishes, Arundar. I appreciate them. Thank you. Hey, and Uno Caso? From Sardinia, Italy. Oh, I had a member a long time ago. One of my first members and subscribers was from Sardinia. I've seen pictures and it looks like an absolutely gorgeous place on this earth. Sardinia, Italy. Okay. All right. So we have some tasks and I have an exciting resource to share with you as well. If you follow me on social media, especially Instagram where I share stories, you know that I went to the movies lately. Does anyone know which movie I've been talking about? Because I love movies and I usually talk about different ones, especially if I go to the theater. And someone from Somalia too. Hello, hello. Hey, Manuel. You're here. Glad to see you here. Okay. A little bit of magic. Webcam and screen. Okay. Can you see what I see? I'm going to check my laptop to make sure that you see my screen. Taking a look here. From Uzbekistan. Lovely to have you here. Danayur. Okay, how's that? Looks good. Yes? Okay, super. All right, I went to the movies with my kids and I saw Inside Out 2. So there is a first movie, Inside Out. This is the sequel. I think it's been about 10 years, so often sequels come out fairly soon after the first. This took some time, but it worked out really well. This is an animated film. It falls into the category of a family movie, but I highly recommend it just because it has something for everyone. It's the kind of movie that if children go, there's bright colors, there's some funny characters, and they'll laugh and enjoy it. But then there is a deeper layer to this, and this is where all the adults in the audience, and even young adults, because my kids are all pretty much not fully grown up, but pretty much young adults right now. They're 19 and 17. So they got all of the depth from the movie that I did as well. Although there was one French word that might have been unfamiliar to them. There was a character called ennui. Maybe the French people here or anyone who knows French can translate ennui. There was a funny character who spoke like this. Oh. Because her name was Ennui. So basically, it's a story about a girl who is now 13 years old. And what's happening in her mind is that all these emotions are there to contribute to her behavior, her thoughts. And so each feeling is represented by a character, like the main one is joy, but then all these other characters / emotions are there in her mind, and each of them play a role in her life and how she functions and how she feels and how she manages. So if you like human psychology, yes, there's humor because we're kind of laughing at our own psychology. At the same time, it's just really fascinating to see how they did this, that you're following this young girl at 13 and everything she's going through, she's reacting to with different emotions, new emotions, which means new characters in her mind. So I just found it really fascinating. The first one was good. This one was just as good, if not better. So I do recommend it. Thanks for confirming. Hey, from Nepal. Glad to have, oh my gosh, you guys are getting a jump on all the exercises already. Okay, we're going to go through them. Make sure that Manuel is guessing correctly. So here we go. These are the words I want to challenge you with. Reassuring, consulted, struggles, profound, exceeds, suppressing. Okay, these range B2 up to, I could even challenge you with higher level ones, but let's see if you can get these words. So basically I gave you very simple explanations. They're synonymous, meaning they're the same, and we're going to replace them with the words in orange. And I see some of you are already guessing what they are. Yes, they are. Inside out matches or even goes beyond the quality of the first story. Goes beyond. So we know we're looking for a verb. And I'm seeing a guess. Be sure that here's a little clue, right? This is third person. We're talking about a film. So it goes. So even the grammar can help you. I need a verb for the third person singular. So that kind of limits your choices to these two. So even if you didn't know, you could guess based on grammar. And you think, okay, does the movie struggle or does the movie exceed? Maybe you're familiar with the word struggle, so then through process of elimination, you'll choose which one? Hey, my hippo is here. Guys, no advertisements, no. You guys can share comments, but if it gets too advertisey, my own word I'm making up today, guys, I can delete those comments. Let's share, let's learn. No self-promotions, please. Okay. So which one, guys? Inside out matches or even exceeds, or should we say matches or even struggles the quality of the first story? You don't have to have seen it, but I'm recommending it. But again, if I'm saying I like this sequel, it's as good as good as the first, and maybe even better. Yes, so exceeds. We're going to put this as 1. Okay, exceeds. So exceed means to go beyond, right? Something can exceed your expectations. It exceeds the quality of the first one. Okay. 2, I noted in the credits, because my children and I, we stayed after the film and we wanted to watch till the end. And here's a little tip that sometimes movies put little gems at the end, like little extra clips or footage. So if you sit there, first of all, appreciating all the people who worked to make the movie, sometimes at the end of the credits, they will also give you a little clip, some extra footage, maybe a joke or something in this case, which it was. I noted in the credits that the writers talked with specialists who provided a strong understanding of the psychology of teenagers. Yes, I'm seeing one person chose for number 2. Does anyone else agree? Number 2? When you talk with someone to get their advice, you talk with them because they have expertise, and that expertise, that knowledge is going to help you. What do? Talked. And again, if you're thinking, all these words are somewhat unfamiliar to me, Jennifer, then look at the grammar, past tense. Do you see a word with a similar ending? The same ending, in fact. Yes, my hippo consulted. In Stunning Lad White, I saw you got it too. Okay? So when you consult with someone, you talk with them to get their advice. You're tapping into their knowledge and expertise and experience to benefit from that. So I found this really interesting. I noted in the credits that they had at least a couple doctors listed, and then I did more research later because I was curious. And yes, they did indeed talk with psychologists to really make this accurate. What is it like at 13? What are some of the common changes, transitions, and difficulties that young people go through at that age? So they consulted with specialists. Well, it's a Disney film, right? Disney/Pixar. So of course there's a heavy dose of humor, but there's a kind of depth that was so beautiful and great. Great is a great word, but don't overuse it. When we're talking, it's fine, but especially when you're writing, great is an overused word. So really try to challenge yourself not to overuse those common words. In conversation, it's fine. The common words come out. That's why they're so common. But when you're writing, you really have the freedom and the time usually to elevate your vocabulary. So instead of great, I see Stunning Lad 1. Who else agrees? Yes, Manuel. Profound. Yes, yes, yes. Through process of elimination, you got it. Okay. Beautiful and profound. And that's a nice, sophisticated word. It'll make you immediately sound more intelligent. Like that's a great insight. That's really profound, right? It has substance. It's significant. It's important. Profound meaning, a profound message. So the depth was beautiful and profound. It really, it was good. And good doesn't really suffice right there. So I just wanted to say beautiful and profound. Okay, 4. The film follows the transition of the main character, Riley, that's a girl, into her teenage years. The girl tries to deal with acceptance, embarrassment, envy, and perfectionism, right? These are the challenges of being a young adult. She's dealing with it. What is she doing? And again, if the remaining words are unfamiliar, look at the grammar. The girl, third person singular, tries. We need a verb, third person singular. Hey, from Bangladesh. Good to have you here, Donnie. Struggles. My hippo, agree with you. And Stunning Lad 1 does too. So she's trying to deal with it. She's struggling, right? Hopefully will succeed, but struggle is like takes effort. And just for a challenge, because I know some of you are at a very high level, I debated whether to give you struggles or another word, which is more like probably C2. There is a word like struggle that starts with the GR, right? When you're dealing with something and it's really hard and you're not quite sure if it's going to be successful. Does anyone know a synonym for struggles? And it also combines with the preposition with. So she's trying to deal with these new challenges. She's struggling with these new challenges. Do you know word GR? There's another word that could have gone here. I'll throw it up here. Do you know this word? Whoopsies. GR. Doot, doot, doot. Anyone know that word? Super. Someone got it. Stunning lad one. Grapples. I thought about that one. Struggles is one level up. Grapples is a little less common. Oops, look, I made a spelling. A little typo, thankfully. My computer caught it. Grapples. So grappling. If you're grappling with something, you're also struggling. So I'd say this is more high frequency. This one is more commonly used. You can deal with, that's perfectly fine, right? Struggle implies that effort, that extra effort. Grapple is similar, just less common. And lastly, or it's actually two more, the overall message is helpful. We learn that we can't be joyful 100% of the time, and that's okay. It's helpful. So which of these two words is positive? And I'm seeing, fight with. Yes, you could fight with. Fight almost implies resisting, though. You want to talk like trying to overcome. So that's another word I could put in here. The girl tries to deal with, tries to overcome, or is learning to overcome. That's another way you could phrase that idea. Right? Reassuring, thank you. Okay, so the message is reassuring. If you reassure someone, you're saying it's going to be okay. I know this is going to be fine in the end. So the message makes us feel better, makes us feel safe and secure that it's all right not to be joyful or happy 100% of the time. And I think that's a very powerful message for kids, teens, and adults, that you can't be perfectly happy 24/7, and that's being human, right? It's such a beautiful message. We cannot be joyful 100% of the time, and that's okay. It's very reassuring to hear that message. The film reassures us that it's okay not to feel happy all the time, which means number 6 is going to be here, and let's see how this fits in. Trying to stop or hide our emotions is not okay. Part of the human experience is having a range of emotions. As we mature, we see and feel more. Awareness of our emotions allows us to manage them. I'll say that again because I think that's an important sentence. As we mature, we see and feel more. Awareness of our emotions allows us to manage them. Actually, 2 sentences there, right? So not feeling happy all the time is okay, but trying to stop or hide our emotions is not okay. And so the word suppressing fits in there. It's an adjective. If you suppress, press is pushing, suppress is pushing down, right? Suppressing. Very good. Manuel, Stunning Lad 1, my hippo. Thank you for your active participation and very accurate work. True. It's a balance, right? I see that, Stunning Lad 1, that we can't be joyful 100% of the time, but you shouldn't also be miserable 100% of the time. There's this range of emotions that you go through. Hopefully you go closer to being happy most of the time, but there are times you're going to feel miserable, and it's okay. You don't want to suppress that. You don't want to hide that or try to stop it. You feel it, you recognize it, and if you're aware of it, then you can manage it. Okay? You can guess from context again. It's just such a beautiful film. I really love the concept. So, thumbs up. Let's go over these words again. Say with me all these words in orange. Reassuring. The verb is reassure. Consulted. The verb is consult. Profound. Adjective. Suppressing. The verb is suppress. Struggle was the first answer I gave. And then I threw out another synonym, higher level, grapple. So you struggle with something, you grapple with something. And exceeds. The verb is exceed. Very common collocation is when something exceeds your expectations. It goes beyond your expectations. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that one of the follow-up tasks for members will be with this vocabulary, right? It's one thing to understand it. The next step is to use it, right? So even now, if you want to put some examples in the chat for other people to consider, and if it catches my eye, I'll comment as well. But members, I'll probably give you a vocabulary task among the follow-up tasks on the community tab, okay? All right, so thumbs up if you love the idea. I just think it's a great concept, Inside Out, very original, right? I mean, I do love the traditional classic Disney stories based on fairy tales, like Snow White, for example, Cinderella, but this was very original. The idea of going into the psychology of a child and then the psychology of a teen, and they also go into the psychology of the parents as the teenager is like having these emotional reactions. You also get quick little glimpses into how the parents are reacting to what they're seeing and trying to make sense of the situation and how best to react. So it really just makes you appreciate each person. Each person has all these thoughts and emotions, and we're all just trying to do our best. So I really loved the experience of watching it. I would watch it again for sure. Oh, with Arthur the King. Arthur the King, is that not King Arthur, but Arthur the King? The other day, I actually sat down and watched most of the film King Arthur. It's like from 2017. It was a very long movie. Very strange, mixed with fantasy, but I enjoyed it. Okay. All right. So now the exciting part. You know I love movies, so there's a couple things I want to tell you about. Some of you already know the one resource that I'm going to share with you, but then there's another one that I became acquainted with just recently, and I'm very excited to share the resource with you today. So if you want to improve your listening and vocabulary, please consider downloading my Movie Power Pack. It's a free digital download. Many of you have already downloaded it, but maybe some people are watching today and hearing about this for the first time. Follow me on social media because I do often talk about movies. So there's some free movie reviews in my social media posts, at least short little comments. But this pack has 10 movie reviews written and read aloud. So there's different ways that you can work with this pack. And I give a how-to video with advice and tips on how you can work with these materials. So you take it as time allows. There's 10 different movies, 10 different reviews. You can listen and read, you can listen only, you can read, and there are vocabulary notes. So the new vocabulary is in a meaningful context. There's a range of movies, some dramas, some funny family movies. So there should be something for everyone in the pack. But even if it's a film that's not in the genre you normally prefer, it's still something to listen to and understand in context. So it's important to understand vocabulary in a meaningful context. And it's just a different format that I want you to consider, right? Listening and reading, and all about movies. So these are movies that I've seen more than once usually. Okay. All right. The ultra marathon team in Colombia. Oh, I did hear about that, Manuel. Yes. They're competing, right? And then this dog joins them, and they're competing as a team, right? Running. I did hear about that. It's like based on a true story, isn't it? Anjali, hello. Mai, hello to you. Oh, I'll have to look that one up. So yeah, feel free to put movie recommendations in the chat for other people. If you've watched it, especially in English, let other people know, let other learners know which movies you liked and you watched in English and received benefits from it, not just entertainment. Okay. All right. So this is a free download. Let me show you also. Boom, boom, boom. If you come to my page, look. So if you click on links, this opens up. Okay. So now if you click on any of these, you'll see what I'm offering. This one is a movie power pack. That's what I just mentioned. Okay. So I'm going to give you that link right now. You just give me your email. Whoopsies, not that one. Here we go. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Okay. So again, click on the link for a free movie power pack, okay? And that will let you have access to 10 movie reviews for listening and vocabulary, okay? Oh, Green Mile, that's a good one, right there. I do like happy movies, but I do like dramas too. You know, anything that shows something about the beauty of humanity, and Green Mile has it. There are some difficult scenes to watch, very difficult at times, but overall, there is a beautiful message and theme in that. You know, like gifts from the universe come in different forms. It's just, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that one, Green Mile. Okay. Oh, yes, a poignant film. Definitely. Okay, guys, so I do like films, and you probably know which languages I study. I think if you follow me, if you know me, you know that way back when I tried to learn French with minimal success. I mean, I got good grades in school, but I wasn't able to communicate. Then I went on to college, and that's where I started to study Russian. So I studied Russian in college, continued in grad school, and I'm still learning. I wouldn't say I'm fully fluent, but you know, I can carry on a conversation. And I'm actually trying to use my Russian now in a new playlist for hockey players, Russian-speaking hockey players. So I'm comfortable in Russian, and I still take lessons to keep up and to build on the knowledge that I have of Russian. And then this January, I started learning Spanish. So I am still a beginner. I'm making progress, but I'm still very much a beginner. And I thought, my gosh, well, I'm such a beginner in Spanish. Is it possible to watch movies, TV shows, and understand anything? How about the news? So then it just was the wonderful timing. First of all, I'm thankful that I can study Spanish on Immerse. That's where I take my Spanish lessons. And then I found out about Lingopie, and I was so excited because it made it possible for me to watch movies and TV shows in Spanish. And I will show you what it's capable of. So some of you may know it. If you don't, let me introduce you to Lingopie, okay? And I'm going to stick this in here a couple times, okay? So this is my affiliate link, which means I do get, or will get, if anyone starts using it, some commission if you click. That's what an affiliate link is if you decide to subscribe. So you already get a pretty cool discount built into the site because they've lowered their prices, but with my coupon code you get an additional 10%, and it's a super cool resource. So oopsies, let me go to here and throw this in here for you. Okay, and I really encourage you to check this out. Lingopie is a resource, and they say learn a new language with real TV. Yes, you can watch real TV shows and movies in the languages you're learning, and it's really accessible at all levels. So I've been doing this in Russian and especially Spanish. So you can access movies and TV shows. Yes, just like YouTube, you can control the playback speed, but it goes beyond that. So I do think it's a lovely feature on different platforms when you can control the speed, because a common complaint we all have as language learners is that it's so fast. You know, you say, okay, Jennifer, if you're speaking more carefully and slowly, we understand you. But, you know, if you turn on the news or watch a movie, it's so fast. And then there's words that are flying by, and they're unfamiliar words. They're coming too fast to remember. You have to pause, note them down. So it can be a challenge just to get through even a minute or two of fast English in a movie or a TV show, right? I know. You can turn on and off the translations, and they have committed themselves to accurate translations, which you do not get on other platforms, right? Automated the captions that are automatically generated, if they have not been edited well by someone, they're often inaccurate, okay? So, okay. There are also interactive captions, which I'll show you in a moment, which means the captions aren't just something that you read. You can get information from the captions, specifically grammar and vocabulary. Isn't that cool? I pretty much figured out how to use it. It's user friendly, but I did need to have some guidance, and that guidance for everyone can come in the form of how-to videos. And if that's even not enough, they have webinars, like info webinars a couple times a month, so you can join them and get more information about how to use the platform and ask questions. So it's not just English. I know many of you have interest or are learning other languages. So I'm using it for Spanish and Russian right now, but these are the current languages: English, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and Russian. Wow, right? So you can become a polyglot. And I'm just telling you, try it out for 7 days and see if you like it, okay? Has anyone heard of it, Lingopie? Hey, Matthew Johnson. Okay, so watch this. Yes, and you can turn dual captions on or a single language caption on. So let me see if I can take you over there now. Can you see what I see? Can you see this? I'll wait a moment to see if the live stream catches up with where I am. Okay, let me see if I can move this, by the way. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, I realize you might not be able to see everything, but let me see if I can. Okay, so I'm at Lingopie right now. No, they don't have dialects like Bostonian slang like that. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Okay, so scene webcam only. Trying to remember, guys, how to do this. I haven't done this one in a while. Can you see that? Okay, webcam. I'm going through the different one. I apologize. I haven't done this one in a while to remember how to change this one. Okay, I think you're just going to have to bear with me as I remember how to do this. I know that my webcam is in the way, so that's not going to work. Okay, just bear with me, but I will show you a glimpse of what I've been doing on Lingopie. Okay. My tone, I see you. I do see you. Okay, hello to you there. Okay, so the other day, I watched a TV show first last week, and then I decided to watch the news. They had slow news. As soon as you finish a video, then they give you a pop quiz. And you can see that I had taken one and they gave me another choice. Do I want to do the next quiz or am I done watching? So if you want, you can go to a next quiz and see if you'd like to review the vocabulary. Okay? But let me take you. So they have different vocabulary quizzes based on the vocabulary that you're collecting. Okay? So this is the cool thing. I'm going to stop this for a second. This is News in Easy Spanish. Okay? So currently I have it set to Spanish, but I could also switch back and forth. So if there's more than one language that you're studying, for me it's Russian, you could also switch back and forth, and then I'll see what's available in Russian. But I've been mostly doing Spanish these days, and as you do a search, in this case I can choose even the country. What in the dialect, what do I want to hear? Spanish from Spain, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico. The different genres are here as well, right? Family documentaries. And then I can also click on the levels. Obviously, I want basic for me. And then depending on how much time you have, you can choose short, medium, and long, okay? So they are pooling these shows from different sources. I think, let me show you here. They have like 3,000 TV shows. Let me see. They have a list here. Look at that. They find the best TV shows and movies from around the world. Netflix. You know that Netflix has a lot to offer. You do not need a Netflix account to watch all that has been pooled from Netflix And what is shared here from Netflix, you can access through your subscription. So you don't have to buy an additional subscription. You have everything that you need here. There might be like some extra, like a few bonus stuff, as I understand, but like the overwhelming majority of the content is available just through your subscription. So you do not need to have a Netflix account to access this material. Okay, so once you choose something, I was watching Hookup, then what else did I do? I was watching the news, for example. So let me go here. Okay, we'll watch, for example. So let's say I'm start watching. Okay, the first thing that I can do is decide if I want the captions. Okay, and not just Spanish, I want English too. Okay, so in Russian, I choose only to see the Russian subtitles, or I can even hide those. Because I'm a beginner in Spanish, I've chosen to put both on, English and Spanish. On top of that, look at the speed. I can go to the slowest speed possible, or I can take it up. I found out when I was watching the TV show, I want the slowest speed possible. When I was watching this news segment, I was able to take it up to intermediate, so you can control the speed. In Spanish, every time you're watching, you'll see both. And then if you want to understand the grammar, look at the color coding. The color coding matches these parts of speech: noun, verb, adjective, adverb. So that's pretty cool, right? And then you can also get some explanations sometimes. You can click on a tab to get a grammar explanation. If I don't know something, like this word, okay, first I see the translation, but if I click on it, I can also add it to my collection of words that I'm learning. See, it just said it added that word. I can also see the whole transcript over here, and I can also click on words to add it to the words that I'm studying as well. All right, so it's really wonderful that you have control over the captions this way. You can see the dual captions, single captions, you can control the speed. And then this is cool too. So not that I want to learn how to call someone a liar. Okay, let's pause there. Oopsies. And if I missed a caption, I'm like, oop, what was that? I can click on the previous caption. Okay, and if I want to learn how to repeat it, you speak the sentence.
No, pero entonces,
right?
¿qué quería que
So
le
I can
dijera?
hear that sentence said by another model. So not only do I hear the actors, I can hear someone else repeat it for me. I also then have the option of learning to say it myself, right? So for example, let's go a little bit more. Okay. Besides, did I have that word added? I think I did add that one. Adam. But if I want to say this line on my own, I click on this.
Además, yo de verdad siento, no sé
And
por qué.
they repeat it. I turn on my microphone and I say it. And then it evaluates how accurately I repeated that sentence, which I also think is pretty cool. Right? So look what you're doing. You're watching it, you're controlling the speed, you see the captions, which you can get in the language that you're learning, in this case for you, English, for me, Spanish, and then you can turn on the dual captions, because I personally need the translations. I need the English translations. I'm getting the grammar. As I'm clicking on words, I'm collecting them. Once I'm done watching, they're going to give me at least one pop-up quiz, and I can keep clicking to practice more, right? So once I go to... oh, and when you take your pop-up quiz, they don't just give you a word, they're also going to give me the context again. Isn't that cool? So I'm like, and if I need to, I could see it here. But basically, they test me on the words that I collected, and they refresh my memory by showing me the scene where that word was used to have the fuller context, which I think is pretty cool. Okay. Once I'm done watching, say I'm done watching, I can always come back and see all the words that I've collected. And there are different quizzes. There's flashcards, there's a pop-up quiz, and then there's another game here too. Once I know a word, I can mark it as known. Okay? Pronto, I actually learned that one, so I know that one. Okay? So I just think it's really wonderful. It goes beyond just watching a movie on YouTube, for example. So you're watching the movie, you can pause, you have the interactive captions. And also, let me show you that if you're watching and there's anything inaccurate, you can also correct the captions or put in a request. There's ways to message Lingopie and give feedback to them so that they can improve or correct captions. So that's a nice feature as you're watching. If I come to the catalog, it's not just a catalog, by the way. So there's the shows. This is what I appreciate. The news in easy Spanish. Then they have some beginner-friendly ones. These are the how-to videos, by the way. How-to videos, so you're feeling lost and overwhelmed, learn how to use it. Okay. Beyond that, let me go down. I think there's more. Oh, look at that. Series, suspense, fun to learn, drama, marketing, audiobooks. I believe Spanish has audiobooks and Italian has audiobooks. There are podcasts. Spanish has podcasts, and I was told that French has podcasts. There's also documentaries. So imagine, again, you have access to speed controls, you have access to vocabulary and grammar notes, and you have the captions, the single captions or the dual captions, which I find really fascinating. Okay, right? So what do you think? I mean, yes, you can watch movies on YouTube, watch videos. It's helpful, but this takes it a step further. First of all, you have so much access. You won't be dealing with ads. You can pause, rewind, fast forward, rewatch. And most importantly, you have so much control over your experience. Once you're watching something, let's just choose something easy for me. Fun to learn. I've never seen this. Okay. As I'm watching, you can also change modes. These are the learning modes. See, vocabulary. Yes, I want to see vocabulary from my level, grammar, auto pause, pop quiz. So there's a lot of control that you have over the experience. And I believe, yes, some more information on how it works. Okay. Report a mistake. I don't know if you see that or if my screen is hiding that from you. So if you see some sort of mistake, you can report that, which you cannot do on other platforms necessarily. Okay. So for all those reasons, I just think it's a wonderful resource to watch movies and TV shows. I'm doing it in Spanish. You can do it in English. Once you set up your account, you have access to all of these languages. And again, you do not need a Netflix account to do this. You have immediate access to, like what they say, 3,000 TV shows and Netflix hits. You do not need Netflix, a separate Netflix account to access all that they're providing for you. Okay. Yes, you try it for 7 days. If you like it, there are different plans. I think they already give you a pretty good discount. If you break it down, it's really affordable. And if you use my code, which I'll put there again, if you'd like to check it out, and I'll put it in the comments of this live stream because I want you to have it. Whoopsies, come back here. Okay. So just consider it, guys. I really think there's so much to be gained. You definitely want to work with all skills, and a question often is, but I do want to listen, but sometimes it's so hard, it's so fast. This gives you control over the experience. It's just a very helpful resource in letting you control the speed and allowing you to learn vocabulary at the rate you need to with review. So it's a wonderful way to enjoy the viewing experience. You want to watch movies, you want to watch TV shows, but it brings it down to your level. And again, I'm learning Spanish. I'm a beginner. I've done this in Russian at the advanced level, and I've enjoyed it. And I've picked up a couple of new words, and I've enjoyed that experience as well. Okay. All right, super. All right, so I do love movies. I do. But I'm going to tell you that there are other things that you need to work on, and that's what we're going to focus on now, okay? So again, we're trying to target about 60 minutes. We're about at the 45-minute mark. I'm going to read this clarification for you, and then with your help, I'm going to change it from this more formal tone to an informal tone, okay? I frequently emphasize the value of movies and their potential to facilitate language studies. However, I wish to clarify that I place great importance on reading as well. If one only listens and does not read the written language, the person will not have exposure to the full language. When students read a text, they have the opportunity to go at their own rate. The visual input may be easier to comprehend, and new words might be more easily retained compared to a live conversation, where words are often pronounced fast and not always clearly. Okay, maybe you agree. Do you know what makes the tone a little formal? Can you identify elements of this text that make it sound formal? Where would you begin to make it sound more conversational? If you said, okay, that's clear, I understand, but I want a conversational tone. I want it to be more informal. Hey, Rocky. Glad to have you here from Canada. Okay. I'm going to come down to this version because we're going to revise it now. Words that jump out at me, yes, vocabulary first of all. I see words like facilitate, comprehend rather than understand. Transition words like however, usually more typical of formal English rather than everyday English. Yes, words like frequently can be changed to often. So it's the vocabulary, it's the transition words, and also, look at this. Does not, right? We can start changing full forms to contractions. And if we find any other contractions or places where contractions could be, we'll put them in there. So I see some suggestions coming in by just making some changes to the vocabulary. Use more high-frequency vocabulary. Emphasize the value of movies and their potential to facilitate language studies. Emphasize, you could leave it. I often talk about how helpful movies are in or learning a language. Shorter. Usually conversational English has shorter statements. I often talk about how helpful movies are when learning a language, or not even reducing it when you're learning a language. Do you see, when I use a general reference, a generic reference, conversationally we often use you, an impersonal you, to refer to everyone rather than one. So that's another way we can make this more conversational. Take in. I often talk about how helpful movies are when you're learning a language. Conversationally, but. And in conversational informal English, you can start sentences with but. But I wish to clarify, but I want to make it clear that place great importance on is high level. I want to make it clear that reading is important too. Changing again. This is the impersonal you, which is more conversational. If you only listen and don't read the written language, you, contraction, won't have exposure to the full language. We could leave that. When students read a text, they have the opportunity to go at their own rate. You could say that. You could also say to go at their own speed. It's another way. Speed might be more high frequency. Yes, but Manuel, I can tell you are not a beginner. So it's time to run and stop walking, right? So run with those contractions. You need to go back and forth. Yes, it's good to know the full forms first. You need to understand will not, does not. But in spoken English, in informal English, we use the contractions. Even in informal emails and texting, we use contractions. So you need to run with it now and use those contractions if it's informal English. Okay? So when students read a text, they have the opportunity to go at their own speed. The visual input may be easier to often. Visual input, that's high level. Yeah, do note the link, Manuel, and note that everyone. Have time. Take time later today. Check out Lingopie, free for 7 days. Think about the possibilities and what you'll get from it. It's really cool. The visual input, that sounds high level to me. The visual input may be easier to, what is missing? What do we have up here? To comprehend, okay. It may be easier to see the language written out, and new words might be more easily retained. And this is passive, might be more easily retained. Passive is also more typical of formal English. I'm going to change this to an active construction. You can predict what I might do. It may be easier to see the language written out, and you might find it easier to remember new words. And since I'm doing easier again, you might also find it easier to remember new words compared to a live conversation where words are often not pronounced, but how about said? Said fast and not always clearly. In informal English, we have usually more repetition. And when we're writing, we usually strive to reduce repetition and not use words repetitively, right? But here you can get away with it if we're writing like we're speaking. So there's more repetition here, okay? I often talk about how helpful movies are when you're learning a language, but I want to make it clear that reading is important too. If you only listen and don't read the written language, you won't have exposure to the full language. When students read a text, they have the opportunity to go at their own speed. You could also say to go as fast or slow as they like. It may be easier to see the language written out. And you might also find it easier to remember new words compared to a live conversation where words are often said fast and not always clearly. This is still passive. I could also say where people speak fast and not always clearly. So I'm taking out the passive, okay? So I'm going to go like this so you can take a good look. And if you want to pause, if you're watching the recording, I'd encourage you to read the first text and then the revision. So here's the first one, if you choose to pause later and read it. And here's the revised version. You can pause and read and compare, okay? When we speak or write informally, we do use contractions like won't, your, right? These are very typical of spoken English. You need to be able to recognize them and use them. So if you use Lingopie, you'll hear lots of contractions in the TV shows and movies because that's everyday spoken English. If you still feel challenged by contractions, remember, I have something for you. I have another bundle for you. This is a bundle of a lot of files. I have MP3 recordings of drills, a PDF text to follow. There are bonus mini video tutorials like a poem, a conversation. So I give you lots of practice with contractions. You listen, you repeat. I also give you a how-to video with suggestions on how to record. And again, if you're saying, oh, that's great, but how do I get it? Remember, just come to my channel. Where am I? Right here. Open up the links like this, okay? And this is the contractions. So if you click here, you'll get taken to this page and you can learn more about the contractions and how to get that. Let me boop, boop, boop here, live stream. Okay. So if you'd like to have that, it's available for you. Again, the contractions. Okay. So lots of resources. I've shared the movie Power Pack. I've shared Lingopie, which I highly recommend that you check out. Right? Get a 7-day free trial. And then the contractions. Also, this task that we just did is an example of clarifying. I emphasize movies so much that I needed to make it clear. I needed to clarify that I also love to read, and I encourage reading and writing as part of your studies too. I hope you make time to read and write. I'm trying to make time at least once a week to read and write in Russian and Spanish. So this month, by the way, advanced learners are already on Patreon as lifelong learners. You're welcome to join them if you are B2 and higher. This month we are informing and clarifying. So we'll be practicing at the live classes how to inform and clarify. And there will also be pre and post lesson tasks targeting these skills of informing and clarifying. So the lifelong learners get Zoom classes twice a month, lots of exclusive materials as soon as you sign up, community interaction with each other. We focus on all skills. So throughout the month, you get a taste of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay, so again, this is just a taste of what it's like to practice in clarifying through written form. All right. Super, super. With the few minutes that we have left, I want to remind everyone that YouTube members get different perks. They'll be getting the follow-up tasks after this live stream, which will end in just a few minutes. And there was one question that came in about punctuation. So the other advantage of being a member is that you can send a question in advance and I will prepare an answer, a short task. So you actually don't just get the answer, but practice. So you can really learn what you need to learn. So a question came in from a member about commas and something called appositives. Let me make that bigger so you can see it. Appositives. If you watched my playlist on adjective clauses, there is a lesson on reducing adjective clauses, and I do speak about appositives. Appositives identify or explain people or things. It's a phrase. If it's necessary information, we use commas with appositives. Appositives follow the head noun. And I apologize, I don't know if you said Pepe or Pele, but I'm assuming Pele because that's the name that I know. So this was the example sent in. The brilliant Brazilian footballer, let me try that again. The brilliant Brazilian footballer Pele thrilled us with his skill. Okay, so this is the predicate. This is the subject. Someone thrilled us with their skill. The main subject is this, the brilliant Brazilian footballer. And then this name is actually considered the appositive. It follows, right? Whose name was Pele, right? So it could have been a full adjective clause. We need this name because I'm thinking, well, which Brazilian footballer are you talking about? Which Brazilian soccer player, as I'd say in American English, are you speaking of? Okay. Oh, Rocky, thanks for being here. Take care. Come back and catch what you missed, okay? There'll be about a few minutes more. I am not going to use commas here because I consider Pele to be necessary. This often is the pattern when we use something with the, like, not the, or just like world famous director Steven Spielberg or something like that. World famous director. I'm like, okay, which famous director? Steven Spielberg is the appositive. I need his name there to know which director I'm talking about. Okay, so if it's necessary, do not surround the noun or the noun phrase in commas. So here are 3 examples. These are people that I've recently interviewed with. I've been doing some podcast and radio interviews outside of ESL. It's been fun. January Jones, the American actress, is 46 years old. January Jones, the author and podcaster that I interviewed with recently, is 80 years old. Think about it. I could say January Jones is 46 years old. But wait a second, there's another January Jones. Because if I say, no, January Jones is 80 years old, you're getting confused because there are 2 January Jones out there, Joneses, right? There are 2 that you will find on the internet. There's January Jones, who is the American actress, who is an American actress. And then there's January Jones, who is an author and a podcaster. Again, is this necessary? If we took it out, could we be confused? Yes. So I'm not going to use commas. Okay? For the same reason, let me read 2 and 3 and you'll tell me, do we need commas or not? The radio show Watchdog is broadcast from Wheeling, West Virginia. Podcaster Jules Duget is also a vice principal of a school in Harlem, New York. Do we need Watchdog? Do we need the name, Jules's name? I would say no. The radio show, if I took this out, there's hundreds, thousands of radio shows, right? The radio show Watchdog is broadcast from Wheeling, West Virginia. Again, podcaster. Which podcaster? Now watch this. If I change this around, let me do 3B. Do you see? I could take this out like this. Because would the sentence make sense if I just said, Jules Duget is a vice principal of a school in Harlem, New York? Would it make sense? Yes. Am I just giving extra information by telling you that, oh, by the way, he is a podcaster that I interviewed with recently? It's extra information. So if it's extra information, and technically I've reduced it from who is a podcaster, I just reduced it by taking out the relative pronoun and the verb be. The extra information is put in commas because it's just, by the way, I'm adding it. If it's necessary information, which it is here, I do not need commas. Okay? Same thing here. Look, if I took this. If I changed it around and named it, and then I have to explain it. And then reducing it, a radio show. Watchdog, a radio show, is broadcast from Wheeling, West Virginia. Okay? The same rules apply to appositives, the same rules from adjective clauses. If it's necessary information, no commas. If it's extra information, use commas. Okay? It's just renaming. So appositives identify or explain things, and they follow, they rename it, right? Here's his name, and I'm explaining with a podcaster, which also follows in by an adjective clause. Okay. I could also take this out if that's easier to understand. A podcast host, a radio host. Okay. All right. We're going to end there. We're at 5 minutes past the hour. So again, I'm going to refresh your memory. There are lots of wonderful resources. We began, first of all, with a recommendation with Inside Out, a movie I recently saw with my children. Members, check the community tab. After this live stream later today, you'll get some follow-up practice, and I will give practice with these words. I encourage you to download the Movie Power Pack, which is totally free, to hear me talk and read other movie reviews, and you'll learn vocabulary that way. I also recommended Lingopie. Highly recommend checking it out. You have nothing to lose. It's a 7-day free trial. I think you'll enjoy it like I did. I've been using it for about a week now for Russian and Spanish, and I think I've discovered most all the possibilities, but it's still a pleasure to each time get more familiar with everything I can do on Lingopie and review the vocabulary that I've collected. I've collected a lot of new vocabulary on Lingopie. Okay. All right. Also, as we practiced changing from formal to informal English, we came across contractions, and I recommended that you check out my digital download on contractions. That's also in the chat. The whole process of clarifying will be practiced further on Patreon this month because our topic is informing and clarifying. And finally, we had practice with appositives, and that will also be practiced further for YouTube members on the community tab. Okay, so it's just $1 a month to join on YouTube. You get the chance to send questions in advance, and you get the follow-up practice. You also now get short little quizzes once a week, so check that out. Okay. All right. And I think I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all my members, new ones and old ones. And thank you to everyone on Patreon, the kind-hearted patrons too, who are just there to support my work. I thank you. Okay. I'll do a quick little check of what's happening on the chat. Otherwise, I think we're going to round this up. Let me see where we are. Manuel. Yes, and that one, Manuel, I would use commas. Manuel, comma, the famous footballer, is 25 years old. Yes. Do you see how we don't need the appositive? We could just say that Manuel is 25. But Manuel, who, by the way, is 25 years old, so we would use commas there. Good job. Okay. So feel free to check out the follow-up practice on the community tab, and I will challenge you to complete my exercises, and I'll probably invite you to produce some of your own original sentences for my feedback. Okay? All right, guys, thank you for lasting this whole time. We went over the hour, but I thank you for sharing this time with me, and I wish you a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you, guys. Take care. Happy studies.